or not they can get that done because, well, if they do, hats off to them. I will be completely disgusted. It's so strange too. I had we were talking to Nisha yesterday, and I asked Nisha what hero he'd like to play, and he said Tinker. And today I get the Tinker. I get a bloody Tinker day. Aries.
Nisha didn't say he wants to play Tinker. Come on.
He did.
Nisha.
He did.
I expected better.
It's disgusting. And he had a big grin on his face too.
Of course.
You know, he's like, yeah, I want to play Tinker. I'm like, oh, you disgust me, Nisha. I told him that straight up. I love you. I think you're great. You're disgusting.
Look at the wraparound.
All
right.
Yes.
This is...
Kill him.
Get the Tinker.
Kill him.
Kill him.
Kill him.
Get him out. They should be able to hunt. No, Lonfer. No, what's going on?
Yes.
Lonfer's alright. Screw Tinker. Sheep's probably gonna die as well. Killer. Another round of the gush and another kill for the boys on Poke. Good start. Aaron yoink.
Double.
Wait, what?
Wait, Lonfer? No.
What? He yoinked him
went full
with the
edgy.
shadow walk. Oh.
Well, let's start to this game. You know, the side of Poke just as disgusted by Han as we all are, but they lose Lonfer as a trade. And they will, I believe, go for a 3-1 bounty runes as well, and all the kills go on to Aaron. So even if those kills are massive, like this is a Rubik with the early farm, that's probably not what you wanted here. So it's nice for Poke. I don't know if it's really what you want, but Aaron?
Got stick charges. Chola's got stick charges as well. Who's got the better stats? They might both die. Okay. he's got 3 kills. Wait, don't die too early. Don't die too early. Okay, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, anyway. So, all right. One thing I do want to say is the fact, well, Killer might go down. Dong's a Grandmaster Ember, so he's very comfortable in the hero, which is going to be important that they've flexed the Ember to the safe lane, because this is it's a specialty hero. Not a lot of position ones can play this to a high level. And Chen's a Grandmaster Bounty Hunter. You don't see that. You do not see that a lot.
It's sickening. It's sickening. But you're already seeing some issues in the lane. I think, you know, you can drain the gold of Ranfu. He really doesn't care too much. He's here to really just heal Lonfer. Right? You get him full agi, you toss out the Mist Coil. Lonfer is not going to die. He shifts back for good balance, and he holds that lane. I think your one issue is that bot lane. Like, look at this lane for Killa. This is not a fun time for a Tide with Gush level 1. Even with Anchor Smash early on, like, the Ember Spirit can still use this lane well, and he just drops so low.
Yeah,
oh, God.
Killer's going to go down. Do you like that Aaron, with all these starting gold, has gone the items that he has?
I mean, what else are you going to go for in Rubik, though, right? You're going to grab your boots, you get a little bit more regen. Maybe the regen is where things are a little bit south. Like, if you got Arcanes, you could sustain the harassment more, especially for Killa. But I don't know if he had enough to even go for Arcs with his 3-0 start. And this is just fairly oppressive, although Dong went a bit far there.
I was thinking maybe he'd go stats in this lane, because you've got the, I mean, we see what's happening with the Gush right now between these two. Like, whenever you Gush either the Mirana or the Ember, there's just a lot of kill threat. So I thought maybe he might go stats to help out with that, but seems like at the moment they don't need it.
I think maybe a casual Ring of Protection might have been able to do the job, but I like that he's still going for the Orb of Corrosion on the Ember, just because, again, minus armor is huge in this lane. You don't have the most armor on Killa, outside of just relying on Kraken, and he doesn't have a skill point in it. Yo, yeah, Aaron, the drive-by.
Yeah, well, that's a second level in the Fade Bolt early on. They're not ready for, so... let's take a look at some of the other lanes real quick, how they're going. Top lane seems like Bounty is going to have a pretty good time versus the Morphling. Morphling being kind of that low attack range hero. And we see Chen, he's got a Vanguard queued up as well. So when Chen is able to pick up this item, Bounty will not be shoved out of the lane at all.
No. Just camp there, sit, steal some gold away from the opposite safe lane. The one thing that I think they have to do on Nova's end is they have to keep these stacks up on the Ancients for their Tinker. They have one stack up. You need more, because you really want Han to get running here, especially when he knows that the OD will likely go Meteor Hammer and just run down his mid, and you can't really do much on the Tinker to stop that. So you just get that flash farm going, hit your timings, and kind of run across the map. A Sheep is getting room to kind of get those pulls going, so it feels pretty good. And they have a stack on the large camp now as well, a triple on the Ancients, and now your Tinker's going to be fairly happy. And that's what you need. Especially since the OD lane for Tinker is not fun. He just gets astraled up and you really don't have counterplay. And that tends to be the story for most lanes against the OD though, which is where this was a really shining pick for Poke. Again, you can suppress the Tinker well and just kind of stall out for that time where you're expecting Tinker and Bounty Hunter to link up, because it does take some items and a lot of levels for that to be online for Nova's part.
Yeah. Bottom lane, Chain's going to be able to set up for Chola's arrow. Aaron in some trouble, but telekinesis is going to help get him some distance away. So both sides getting a decent chunk of damage out onto the supports.
A lot of poking prodding. You have the full orb of corrosion up on Dong, so Aaron can just melt. I say that, but the Rubik does have 6 armor. It's actually kill it with way less. As long as the Anchor Smash doesn't connect, you feel pretty good here on the Ember, but it's becoming easier and easier for Kill to just walk up, press that E. He has a Ring of Health. He can cop a little bit more hits here as well. So it's perfectly fine for him to take a much more aggressive posture now on the Tide. Overall, a strong start for the side of Poke. I mean, it's 5 kills up against 3, but you have to remember 3 of those kills, well, actually 4 of those kills were on Aaron, which is really hilarious to think about, but he's had a lot of impact on this Rubik.
I'm trying to see where he's on the net worth. He's still pretty low, I suppose. He hasn't been last hitting to keep up some of the farm, but regardless, Aaron's going to start to look to rotate, trying to put some emphasis on some of the other lanes. You do have a Meteor Hammer coming very shortly on the outward Devourer, so if you get a kill into the Tinker, it's going to be a lot of damage into the tier 1. Small KK, he's even got an Arcane Rune as well to play with, so gotta be cautious. And there we go, there's Han. Caught out of position for a single time, and as a result, he should be penalized accordingly. They'll get a return kill, but it's not gonna matter. You're slowing down the Tinker's game, and that's all you need on Poke.
This is all off the movement of them trying to contest the stacks as well. Like, you did get movement out there from Ron Fu to check the stacks, to interrupt that next stack on the Ancients, and that just suddenly leads to that kill. You have to be, again, very careful. Your Tinker has no real play until the levels and items are up. OD is just such a good foil to that. And a Meteor Hammer is in play. Like, it's just melting. You're not anywhere near ready to play with his pick-off game with your Bounty in. And that's the one thing with a Bounty Hunter. This does look like a good game for it, but if you don't get the levels flowing and this timing going, then you're going to be run down a little bit in the early game.
No idea how they got that deny. Well done from Chola. They're going to have a way to be able to cancel the Meteor. Looks like they will. Sport KK might be in some trouble. Who's going to be nearby just in case, though. So this was the concerns we brought up, John, with his towers going down early. Not only does Tinker not have locations to TP to with the low points in the rearm, but low points in his Kink and Veins, but also you've got these big stacks in the jungle now, which is going to be a little bit easier for Poke to be able to kind of engage into without having to worry about a tower.
Yeah, they know it's up. They know they can just slip right in. They need the smoke to come out just to let Han do this. And he does hit his level 6. He's buying his own smoke out. But look, they're ready to intercept.
Sheep. Be able to escape, but this is a big concern right now on how you're going to be able to protect your stack, because we could see Tide look to rotate with his first Gush, with his first Ravage. Even the Morphling can maybe get involved at an early stage as well. So and then you see Dire are recognizing this. They've dropped some sentries nearby, dropped the ward as well. So they're really looking to make sure they can slow down the Tinker from being able to claim this stack.
Yeah, it's not going to feel great for good old Han. I think the one thing is you could also probably just run up with small KK if he has room and just Meteor Hammer.
Bottom lane.
And just be happy. Oh.
We're going to see the first rotation out of Han. A much needed kill. I mean, Tidehunter was more than happy to be able to solo 1v1 versus Dong, so Han's going to be able to get involved as well to get some much needed gold and experience.
Yep. That's something that they needed off the map. And so, good way to kind of come back in here. For Nova, they get the D ward as well on their ancient side.
Ooh.
And they actually find a pickoff.
Should be able to turn it. Oh, Meteor's actually still on cooldown for small KK. So it's not going to be that Ashton to hammer combo. And I mean, Chen is... So what can we expect out of the bounty? Because he's top of the net worth by a long shot. He's bodied this Morphling in the lane. Kind of what we were expecting with the low range from him. You can always steal the gold with the Janata. But what would we like Chen to itemize, and what do we hope his playstyle is going to be to give the success that Supernova need?
Trying to think what I'd like to see from your bounty hunter here. I feel like you just maybe just go your Ags, like Octarine. Ags is kind of nice. I don't know if you really need a lot of ores this game coming out from your bounty itself. Yeah, I think you can kind of get away with that. You're also starting to clear out the stacks now for Han, so some good gold. The Blink's going to be up and running sooner rather than later. I wouldn't mind something like the Ags. I think just having the Janata bouncing around is going to be great. And he is going back for the Midas, so that could help for the ramp up into that Ags.
Well, they might get him. And Small KK, look at this. They scanned, so they knew exactly that the Tinker was taking the stack, but Dong's going to be nearby to turn it back around. So even though they get the kill on the Han, it looks like still multiple members will go down for this aggressive attempt.
That's big win for Nova. The kill is going on to Dong, allowing this Ember to just ramp up. Has the Falcon Blade, Orb Corrosion, and his full phase boots up now. He hits like a truck. That is a really painful Ember at the moment. I think the one issue you're having right now is that you are still not in position to play aggressive. Although the track's up and Lonfer's not that healthy here.
Ooh. Go down. Is the missile going to be enough? Lonfer. And with maxed out shift, Small KK should be able to get the kill on the Bounty Hunter once the Astral pops. And it looks like Lonfer and Ranfu are just narrowly going to be able to survive as well. Not enough damage just yet on Han's Tinker. They're coming though. Look at Dong with the wraparound. You said that Ember hits hard, and we're going to see that be the case. Just slides down the Abaddon inside the tree line.
Radiant structures are fortified.
If you had your blink up earlier, if Han didn't die clearing out his Ancients, that fight would have been a lot more different. So, just the slightly later blink timing kind of hurting them there. There's space for Poke to clear out bot. Killa does not offer the Meteor Hammer, just goes for the Hood of Defiance into the pipe against the Tinker. A necessity. This is a need for them to have. So you really don't want to have to deal with this hero in any shape or form. Han is trying to clear out the Ancients with no smoke. It is a much more painful process for him. So still not going to be able to clear out too fast. And they do have an opportunity to equalize the map here with the top. Again, with the right click you have on the Ember, you have enough minus armor to soften this up for yourself. They equalize quite a fair bit. You still feel better on Poke with a mid-gon. They can invade bot. They can ensure they've got the safe space to farm for Killa and for Lonfer on the triangle, extending that control a little bit more. But you have this nice lead still standing on Nova. You still have this threat of eventually having to deal with the track Tinker. That is still scary for the side of Poke. But it does feel like it's a bit stalled out here for Nova. We're only 12 minutes in, to be fair. This Midas could bite Chen in the butt if he doesn't get it fast enough. If it's out too late, then your bounty hunter is not going to be durable enough to be in the front line to keep applying tracks and still run around.
At least this attempt will hit the mark, so they're able to get a little bit more gold off the back of the track. They got to start playing some fast tempo sort of style here from Nova. They might have seen Chen run underneath the tier 2 tower. Is he going to be in some trouble though? Small KK is able to hold him down with the Astral. Even Killer's going to try and tip in just in case the full team fight's going to break out. Ravage is there, but it's a little bit too late. They need a turn to address the Supernova, but the Fire Spirits are connected onto all of them, so sheep. The egg's going to blow up in the end. Be cautious now. How can you still take the team fight as Supernova? They're hesitant. And as a result, they're going to lose the Ember Spirit due to this No one else wanted to help him out deep behind an enemy's lines.
Just a bit too unhealthy on Chen to keep that fight going. Would have been nice though. Like they had this opportunity to get a lot of tracks, but your Tinker with still at the level 1 rearm, it's just a little bit too slow to dish out the damage, even with the blink up, and he even has the favorite Tinker item in a Fairy Trinket as well. How blessed can you be in the game? But not enough. And the side of Poke, they just clump up the numbers. They only find 1 kill, and that does cost them Ravage as well. At the same time, I don't think you're necessarily looking for fights on Poke this game anyway. You're looking to counterfight a lot more. Their counterfight potential is huge with the saves you have on the Abaddon and on the OD as well. So you don't mind being run into here by the side of Nova. As long as you're close enough to use your spells on each other, you're good.
I didn't... So they stole the track. That's a lovely ability to steal.
It's an easy one to steal too for Aaron. So that's the one blessing you have with that early Rubik pick. You can use that track against them. And if you start finding those stolen track kills, that's where things can get a little bit dicey for Nova.
They might find one of them now. Chen in some trouble. Multiple dire heroes starting to funnel into the area, and importantly, it's Lon Fur that can help provide the damage. I don't think it's going to be enough this time, though. Moonlight Shadow used to help get some distance away. And Radiant, they even want to try and take the team fight. Abaddon, not going to cast the ultimate. We'll be able to use it now, get him a little bit of health back. Killer's going to act as a bodyguard as well to help Poke reset. But as soon as they see Han, they need to think twice about if they really want to take the team fight, because they don't have the OD currently. All right. So we spoke about the Midas on the Bounty Hunter, but it looks like even Small KK, he's gone into a Midas as well. So OD's looking to try and... Okay.
Like he's farming it a lot faster. The fact that he just has it already is big enough. Whereas for Chen, you're still waiting on 350 gold. Right? I feel it's a lot more painful to wait for that. I think the OD understands. You kind of have to scale up. You probably want your Ags this game. You want 2 of those Astral Imprisonments. And then, honestly, you probably want your Shard as well. Like, I absolutely hate OD Shard. It is the most annoying thing to play into. No, I mean, I hate playing into it. Because it's so tilting. You see them imprisoned, then you see them walking slowly as well. And it's like, it's just like, God, I can't even kill you. And I know you're going to run because you're going to have another imprisonment out. You're going to stall for the blink, and then boom, you're gone. It's so annoying. So I guess this is the one takeaway I have in this game. This is the fight of 2 really annoying drafts from both sides. It's OD versus Tinker. This feels like purgatory, man. I feel like no one has to ever experience this in their game, but I don't think it's too uncommon to see this in your games.
But has our opinion changed that Tinker should be able to come out on top if this goes late? Because I feel like that's not the case with them going kind of the Midas, and it seems like they think they can scale. But has your kind of opinion changed?
I think Tinker can still dominate, but it's all in on kind of like Tinker and Ember, whereas for Poke, like all of them scale really well. Like even the Tide with his Ags pickup with the utility from the Tendrils and him kind of having this build up for the refresh as well. Like it's actually decent. And they'll find that pesky bounty hunter here.
I'd be forced to drop the Sanities, yeah, all right. Saw the Shadow Walk on Aaron, in fact, so not looking to hold the track. Iris starting to come to the area. Once again, they're in fighting shape. Just a question, do they want to continue to go deep here? Killer without a blink really to follow up in that jump. So he's just going to wait for Radiant just to group up and run towards him, but see Supernova kind of hesitant with that at the moment, considering they are down 1 core member in the Bounty Hunter. So everyone, all 9 heroes that stage of the game had top.
I'm really curious about this build on Han. Like he's got the Blink, Soul Ring, and Dagon 5 queued up. I'm not sure about that, just because Pipe is already negating a lot of your output at the same time. They feel like they need the burst damage, which is fair. I don't know. I feel like I'd prefer more control your typical Tinker build, like Shiva's Hex, probably
Yeah.
before rushing this Dagon. Like, Dagon Blink alone, you could probably rip up, like, say, the Rubik. You can't really rip up the Abaddon as long as he has his ult. So, I don't know. This is probably the first time I've seen this rush in a pro game.
Bottom lane. Oh, very cute attempt. Only level 1 in the telekinesis, so not a lot of stun lock. Lonfer playing around with that Ember replicate. Almost caught him off guard there with the Searing Chains. He did have the Shivas queued up before on Han, and I don't know why he swapped, because the Shivas versus OD and Tide and Morphling is incredible. I mean, Morphling Tide just to stop a lot of your tankiness, but then also the OD Morph to stop a lot of your attack speed. So we'll see if it's going to bite them in the end. Teamfight's going to break out, but the Supernova lay it down. This time, Poke won't look to address it. Killer's going to be able to run himself away without any stuns to hold him down. Dong is a little bit too far away to be able to hold Mr. Killer.
Not the biggest kill to find off the back of your Supernova from Supernova. It's a little bit awkward for them. I think the big issue you're finding right now as well for Chen is jumping any of these cores as a bounty, tracking them up is actually hard. She'll try into the morph, but strength is there.
And it's pretty close to some of the die objectives as well, so they can start to TP in and react.
That's enough to shove Nova away. I think the side of Nova. And they're going to have to wait for the item time. So, right. Han has gone back to the Shivas. So he's got some sanity back. Smoke out from Nova, though.
Sheep should be able to set up for Aaron. Got the mechanism to repair some of the damage. Aaron's going to be okay, especially with Ranfu nearby him. And there's a DD on Lonfer. You need to respect the Morphling. With the Ravage coming out as well, it means that Lonfer can freely get the damage out. 2 members gone like that. Han just will be able to TP away, but they can take Roche with ease. You've got the Arcane Orb. You've still got about half duration out of the DD, and you've got a Solar Crest completed on Killer.
Yeah, you're feeling good on Poke. For the side of Nova, I don't feel like they've done enough for the Bounty Hunter. Maybe again, just going back to this Midas. Like, he was so durable with his Phase Boots Vanguard that you could probably have gone like an Aetherlance or a BKB straight after, and then just keep spamming out these tracks, stand from a safe distance, try to use your Tinker for a pickoff. But now that timing feels thrown off. Still waiting for the BKB on the Bounty, and the side of Poke just feel really obnoxiously strong. And your big issue again is that you have the save on Abaddon, and if you try to jump Killer, I mean, he has the bloody Kraken Shell. Although Aaron, he's the only target they can constantly jump. It's just a Rubik that you can really burst. Morphling is hard. OD has a stall out. Abaddon has a save. Tide has a self save. Like, this is not an easy game to lock someone in unless you have that burst on hand. And they just haven't gotten enough from tracks.
Well, maybe these past couple of kills that they're getting now in supports could help out a little bit with the net worth. Lonfer's nearby. They did get the Fire Spirit, so should be able to address the Supernova. And you've got Small KK starting to move on over as well. Lonfer, gotta be cautious though. They didn't give the Aegis over to the Morphling. Small KK, is he gonna Astral him? They'll do so at the last second, but now turn to try and go for the hammer, but Small KK is in trouble. They're gonna try and buy back and look to bring some of the boys to protect him, but it feels like Nova finally, something goes their way.
Yeah, they get the big kills they need. They find a punishment onto Morph. It takes a little bit of time, but they get that done, sacrificing your supports for the core kills. You don't mind that too much on the side of Nova. That's off the back of the fresh BKB on Dong. Like, they needed someone to stand up front with Spell Immunity. And that is one thing that Poke's lineup does not deal with well. Like, once you do have BKBs up on a few of these cores, Small KK is going to be irrelevant. All right, that is the big weakness of the OD. Spell Immunity timing is just going to hold back on pretty much all your output. And I don't feel like you're completely ready on Lonfa to fully commit on the Morphling just yet. So we need to see that a little bit more coming out from Nova. Just run around, play with your track, find these kills. You know, use the stinker that you have picked yourself and just build up your lead. You know, they can really reel it back in here just off the back of these kinds of plays. And for Poke, I mean, they've got to respect that a little bit. I do still feel like they can take these fights, but they need to be as a team in these counter fights.
Maybe here's the fight. Aaron's gonna go down to start, and Killer doesn't see an opening for the Ravage. Did he just finished the blink right on Killer?
I believe so.
Yeah,
And
so
didn't really manage to blink on top. Like, if they had more of their heroes together, again, if you had the OD along with a Morph in that area with your Tide for the counter fight, you might be able to find some punishment. But again, just focusing on that farm, and it's openings for Nova here.
it does seem like, okay, they've completely swapped the items. I was going to say Poke have recognized maybe they've got some issues with their control, because Small KK had a Hex queued up. Even Tide had a Hex queued up as well, but Killer's going Gills now, and Small KK wants a BKB. So we've seen so far it's been very difficult for them to catch the slippery heroes on Radiant. I mean, you've got Ember, Mirana, and the Bounty. I suppose even Tinker as well is pretty goddamn slippery. So we're going to get a trade out of tier 2s on the map. Is this... Oh, they're actually going to try and come back and defend top. I guess Radiant do push relatively slow. Kill. Oh, all right. Just a Ravage for the kill onto Sheep.
It's a big commitment for the Phoenix. They're still ready for the counterfight here.
Small KK. He's got the Abaddon starting to TP, and he can look to use the Astral as well, but...
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, nah. That's that was the hammer dropped onto BKBs, but that is also BKB commitment out from Nova. It's still, in the end, you traded Phoenix for the OD. That's a big win out for Nova. Again, no Ravage to threaten here.
We're starting Radiant just completely toying with them across the map now. They are very immobile with some of their heroes. You see how difficult it is. TPs are going to be a hot commodity for them. It's Nova starting to build a lot of momentum, and potentially another kill as well. And these aren't just support kills, these are track kills. And Chen, he's going Sanjin Yasha, which is a pretty poopy item, but feels like there's going to be some value out of it in this game in particular.
I suppose so. It's a little bit surprising. I feel like you have a lot more fun with like the Octarine build and the Axir. But I guess the stat resist is just because he is probably the guy who's going to run in, try to cop all the spells, and allow Sheep to come in with a Supernova afterwards. So he's just going to have to try to survive through some of that onslaught, being like the frontliner here for his team. They're still on the hunt, though. They've got good ideas to where Lonfer is at, and they've got the numbers to try to deal with that Morph.
Chen's going to be able to scout. There's a tier 1 tower, so they can start to TP down. Again, Ravage is still on cooldown for 20 seconds. At least they're going to be able to keep the Morphling alive. Renfu as well will be okay. So an attempt for Nova, very close to being able to convert on that, but see the reactions of Force and Poke, they're going to be okay. That means the TPs again are on cooldown, so they could look to make a play now on the opposite side of the map if they want to for Nova.
Yep, they can just swing on over. And you mentioned the mobility again. When you have the Tinker and the Ember, it just feels easier for Nova to switch positions on the map so fast. I mean, this is the point where Han is so obnoxious. He just blinks, rearm, use the Shiva, blink, rearm. He has the E-Blade now as well, which is always hilarious into the Morphling, because it used to be so good in Morphling. Now it's so good against the Morphling. How do tides turn on that one?
Oh, let's see. Poke finally looking to try and make an aggressive play. Killer hoping to catch up to 1, but it's just Sheep that's revealing himself at the moment, so Yeah, no one will be caught off guard. Maybe they're going to try and force the issue for this tier 2 mid, though.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They force out the fortify early, but the side of Poke are ready for a fight.
Look at Killer. So far forward, doesn't give a damn about his positioning. Knows that Ranfu's always going to be nearby to protect him. Can they get the perfect chain control after the Yules? Dong. Okay for the moment. Couple of BKBs expended. Supernova in the middle as well. They should be able to turn to address the egg, but the Morphling.
Oh my god.
Where'd he go? He might have ate an arrow and now Poke. Can they turn it around off the back of small KK? He's going to try and land the Meteor Hammer, but the timing is not perfect. And in the end, it's Nova. It just obliterates the 5-man on Poke.
That is just nutty. A really good egg position coming out there from Nova. The track kills flowing up. The disoriented fight from Poke, like the Ravage just being forced to use defensively. And again, a less than effective hammer coming out here from small KK. And just with one team fight like that, you suddenly get a 6k lead. Again, you've got the tracks racking up gold. It's still only a level 2 track as well. This isn't even maxed out yet. But it is starting to show its power when you trade like this. 7k lead up for Nova. And for Poke, I mean, this game is getting difficult. We were seeing Lanfur just switch over onto the BKB now. On Morphling desperately needing it. They all just need that spell immunity up against these heroes. Roshan is open. And you sure melt it quite fast when you have that Tinker spamming its spells. They scan, but they don't have Ravage. They don't have the hammer. They can't contest this.
Oh, it seems like they don't have a lot of things for Poke. When scaling's there, they're trying to attempt that scale, but at the moment, these fights are just looking really messy. I don't know if you feel like it just comes down to their lack of stuns, because it seems like Nova are just continuing to kite them and have plenty of time to react accordingly.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. Like, just that lack of control. You only really have Astral and Ravage. Maybe the left back if you really want to count it, but that's not the most amount of control for a team to play with. Honestly, it feels like a pretty high priority game for Killa to actually get something like a shard. I think having that line stun on hand is a big way to help yourself in these fights. But he is rushing the Hex first. Like, the single target control is massive. You can pin down the Ember. You can pin down the Tinker if you manage to catch him in the back line. And that opens up the game. However, Han is going for the BKB on that Tinker. He's going to be protected. Killa. Jeez.
Can they high... Killer? Can you really high ground?
Yes.
I don't know, man. Dong.
That was...
They're going to be able to run up to the Morphling. He's okay for the moment thanks to the Astral. But no one's going to be able to address the Nova. Killer somehow is able to get the blink away. Did they all get out? Ranfu? Okay, he won't be able to escape. But somehow all they lose is just the Abaddon when it looked like a disastrous fight.
Yeah, they couldn't focus in their damage onto Killa. He really did just run up. His Ravage was on cooldown as well. I was wondering what the hell he was trying to do. It was like 6 seconds off when he went into the tree line where the Tinker just saw him with the Shiva's usage. So I was like, it looked dicey, but you know, you count your blessings. Poker fine. They back off, not losing too much, but the side of Nova are still ready to go. Double damage is only half duration left on Dong, but they're shoving out all the waves. This is the one thing about playing against the Tinker. Once you lose one... Oh?
Very close.
Yeah, again, it's one of those things with Tinker. Once you lose control of one lane, I mean, you don't even lose racks, but, you know, you lose that opportunity to push high ground. The Tinker just reshoves everything out, and you have to work double time to try to look for an opportunity to make something happen again.
And they don't have the heroes to shove lanes. You got an Abaddon as your 5. Rubik doesn't have great abilities to steal to help with his lane shove. We'll see if this fight can turn in their favor, though, for Poke. Killer's got the Ravage at the ready, but needs to find the perfect opening. It's a pretty decent one to start, but there's no follow-up. Just no one's there to connect with him. And now it means that Poke they're in an all-out retreat. They're going to be forced to try and cut their losses, feed some of their members to the wolves. Let the grown-ups run away. Looks like the Abaddon, no, he won't be one of them.
Yeah, 2 kills. Ravage down again from the side of Poke. 2 track kills coming out there for Chen.
Oh, they see the
he's
morphling.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's gone. He's going to try and team. Are they going to stun? Stun? They do. Dong's got 1. Chains was up. And down goes Lanfer. This is... Tinker's... I don't even want to say it's a Tinker show. He's 2-3 and 15. Dong on this Ember, 11-2 and 9. He's having an exceptional game.
He is. You just don't have the lockdown for something high mobility like that. Like, you just don't have the lock for a lot of these heroes. Like, it's a Tinker, it's an Ember, even to an extent. The Mirana can be hard to pin down here as well. And they've just grown so big off the back of all these tracks. Chen actually goes for the Satanic. Like, having a Self-Dispel in hand is pretty massive, I suppose. Would still prefer more, but you know what? It's working out for Chen.
Chen? Gonna eat the hammer. Ember might be in some trouble with the Arcane Orb. Brings it down to about a 3rd health. Age is still in the hands for another 30 seconds. They use the Sanities, but it's got a 2nd life. So Small KK doesn't have the big ultimate now for his damage source in the middle. And in fact, they will look to get out. Nova not looking to continue to take the fight, so it's going to be a tier 3 tower that goes down and a little bit of damage to the ranged barracks as well.
Yeah, they are a little bit low on mana to sustain the fight through. You don't have any mana left in Chen to get the track out. I do feel like it's still safe. I mean, without the Santis Eclipse and Small KK, that's a lot of output just gone. And Ravage was down longer for Killa. So they respect the hold from Poke. And Nova just goes back to farming. Why not? You can just get the buildup you want on Han. He's almost at his Hex. So rearm Hex can be there. And good luck with dealing with that stuff. It's not going to be a fun time here.
Come and Poke. They're going to get caught outside the base. Pretty quick fingers with the blink. Ravager early on once again. The chain control. Oh, Killer.
Oh, man.
Another Ravager.
Why?
They get nothing out of it, and now it's just a free fight. It is a complete free fight for Nova. They've got nothing to be worried about. Morphling doesn't want anything to do with it as well. And yeah, G's are going to be dropped.
Yeah.
Just a messy 2nd game as Nova. An interesting draft from them. They pull something out of the hat, and it's going to work out.
It's a disgusting draft, Aries. No need to dress it up here.